Jack Holloway liked being alone. After 30 years in the military and space service, all he wanted was peace. His ranch in Montana gave him that. 200 acres of land, a few horses, and no people around for miles. Just the way he liked. Tonight, a summer storm was coming. Jack sat on his wooden porch with a glass of bourbon watching dark clouds roll in. The wind picked up, making the tall grass wave like an ocean. Lightning flashed in the distance. But then something strange happened. A different kind of light tore through the sky. It wasn't lightning. It was too bright, too blue, and it moved. Wrong. Jack stood up, his old eyes narrowing as he watched. A ship broke through the clouds. It was sleek and silver but clearly damaged. Smoke trailed behind it as it fell toward Earth. Jack recognized its shape immediately. Lyrican. He'd seen plenty of their ships during his years in the diplomatic corps. This one was in trouble. Its engines sputtered and flared as it tried to slow down. The ship aimed for his east field, where he grew hay for the horses. Jack didn't move or shout. He just watched as the ship hit the ground, its emergency systems firing at the last second to prevent an explosion. The crash carved a long, deep trench through his field. Dirt and plants flew into the air. The ship finally stopped about half, a mile from his house. Jack sighed. He finished his drink in one gulp and went inside. From a drawer near his bed, he took out his old service pistol. He checked that it was loaded, then walked to his truck. So much for peace and quiet, he muttered as he started the engine. As he drove toward the crash, Jack thought about how long it would take for the government to show up. This far out, maybe a few hours. Enough time to see what he was dealing with. He parked his truck near the ship and got out, keeping his gun ready but not raised. The ship's hull was hot, making the air shimmer around it. An emergency hatch on the side hissed open, releasing steam. Jack waited, his face showing nothing. One by one they came out. Lyrican females. 11 of them. They were tall and graceful, with skin that shifted colors between deep purple and midnight blue. Some of them glowed slightly in the darkness. All of them looked hurt in some way. One female stepped forward. She was steadier than the others, though Jack could see a burn on her arm. Her eyes were pure silver, reflecting his truck's headlights. "Forgive our intrusion, human," she said. Her voice had a musical quality, even though she sounded tired. "We are refugees. Our husbands were executed in the Proxima Rebellion. The new regime hunts us. We tracked your biosignature, a diplomatic corps officer, hoping for sanctuary." Jack studied their clothing. Torn and dirty, but he recognized the symbols on it. House of Talus, a moderate political group that had helped Earth during the big treaty talks years ago. If they were being hunted, that meant the extremists had taken over. "You have exactly 10 minutes to explain why I shouldn't call this in," Jack said, but even as he spoke, he found himself opening the back of his truck so the injured ones could sit down. The one who spoke first introduced herself as Vela. She told Jack about the rebellion, how it had started as peaceful protests but turned violent when extremists took control. Her husband and the husbands of the others had been high-ranking officials who opposed the violence. All were publicly executed 3 weeks ago. "We barely escaped," Vela said. "They will kill us too, to erase any opposition. We found records of Earth's diplomatic corps in our husband's files. Your DNA signature was there. We took a chance." Jack looked at the others. One was very young, almost a child by their standards. Another was clearly a doctor, trying to help the worst injured even though she herself had bad burns on her chest. "And what happens if I help you?" Jack asked. "We need time to heal, repair our ship, and contact allies still in hiding," Vela said. 2 weeks at most, then we will go." Jack looked back at his house, then at the sky. The storm was getting closer. Rain would start soon. "Fine," he said finally. "The injured can take my guest rooms. The rest of you will have to make do with the living room and barn. 2 weeks. That's it." The relief on their faces was clear, even on alien features. The young one stepped forward suddenly and touched Jack's hand. Her skin was cool and slightly rough, like touching fine sandpaper. "Thank you," she whispered. It was clear she was just learning English. As they loaded the worst injured into his truck, Jack wondered what he had gotten himself into. After years of avoiding any contact with alien species or politics, he now had 11 fugitive alien women about to live in his house. The young one climbed into the truck next to him. "I am Nova," she said carefully. "Jack," he replied. "Jack," she repeated, looking out at the storm now breaking over them. "Jack's safe." He wasn't sure if she meant he was safe or that they were safe with him. Either way, as he drove back to the house with a truck full of alien refugees, Jack knew his quiet retirement had just ended. The next morning, Jack woke up to strange sounds in his kitchen. For a moment, he reached for his gun before remembering the events of last night. He put on a robe and went to investigate. 2 of the Lyricans were trying to figure out his stove. They had long fingers with an extra joint, making their movements graceful but unfamiliar with human tools. One had skin that shifted more toward blue when she saw Jack. "We thought to make food," she said. "To thank you." "I'm Orion," said the other one. "This is Cassie. We were both cooks before." Jack nodded and showed them how the stove worked. Soon the smell of coffee filled the kitchen, along with something sweet and unfamiliar that the aliens were making. Vela appeared in the doorway. "We've moved our most injured to your guest rooms, as you said. Kaya, our doctor, is with them. The others are assessing the ship damage." Jack poured himself coffee. "And how bad is it?" "Bad enough. The landing systems are destroyed. The cloak failed during entry. Your government sensors will detect it soon." "How soon?" 4 days. Maybe less." Jack sipped his coffee, thinking. Then we have work to do. Outside, the storm had passed. His field was torn up from the crash, but the ship itself was less visible now, partly sunk into the mud. As Jack walked toward it, he saw Nova, the young one, watching his horses from the fence. "They're afraid of us," Nova said when Jack joined her. "Our skin, too bright." "They'll get used to it," Jack said. He opened the gate and led her into the field. The horses backed away at first, but Jack's oldest mare finally approached cautiously. "Slow movements," Jack told Nova. "Let her come to you." As Nova carefully made friends with the horse, Jack watched the other Lyricans working around the ship. They moved with purpose, some using tools he didn't recognize. These weren't just random refugees, they had skills. Military training, some of them. "Why did you really come to me?" Jack asked when Vela approached. "There are official channels." "All compromised," Vela said. Her silver eyes were serious. "The new regime has spies in your government. Our husbands discovered this, it's why they were killed." She handed Jack a small crystal, covered in familiar symbols. "This has proof. Names of officials who have been compromised. Our husbands died, protecting this information." Jack held the crystal, feeling the weight of it. He had left all this behind. Politics, conspiracies, danger. "I retired for a reason," he said quietly. "And yet you still keep your service weapon loaded," Vela noted. "Some instincts never fade." Jack looked back at Nova, who was now gently touching the mare's nose. For the first time, the girl smiled. 2 weeks, Jack said, putting the crystal in his pocket. "Then we'll see." 1 week passed at the ranch. Jack found himself getting used to the strange new routine. Each morning he woke to the smell of whatever Orion and Cassie were cooking. They learned human recipes quickly, though some of their experiments were better than others. The aliens had settled into a pattern. Kaya, the doctor, was still helping the most hurt ones. Lyra, who had flown the ship, had a broken arm but was already up and working. Mira and Celine helped Jack with the ranch chores. They were curious about everything human. "Why do you grow plants you cannot eat?" Celine asked, looking at the flowers near the porch. "Because they're nice to look at," Jack said. Celine touched a red rose carefully. "On our world, everything must have use. Beauty alone is not enough reason." "That's the difference between surviving and living," Jack told her. Other Lyricans showed their skills in surprising ways. Rhea and Piper fixed Jack's old tractor that hadn't run in years. Dawn, who knew about plants, made his vegetable garden grow better than ever. Nova followed Jack everywhere, learning English words and asking endless questions. "What is this?" she would ask, pointing at ordinary things. "Why does it work this way? How old are you? Do all humans live alone?" Jack answered patiently. He found he didn't mind the company as much as he thought he would. In the evenings they gathered in the living room. The Lyricans told stories about their world, their customs. Jack learned that they could live for hundreds of years, that their skin colors changed with their emotions, that they could see colors humans couldn't even imagine. "Our husbands were good men," Vela told Jack one night when the others had gone to sleep. "They believed in peace with Earth. That's why they were killed." "And the crystal you gave me?" Jack asked. "It names 23 Earth officials who work for the new regime, people in your military, your government. If they find us here, they will kill us and you." Jack knew she was right. The peaceful life he had built was now in danger, but strangely he wasn't as worried as he should be. After years alone, he felt awake again, like he had a purpose. The 8th day, Nova found the drone. Jack was fixing a broken fence when Nova pointed to the sky. "Metal bird," she said. Jack looked up. A small black dot moved against the blue. Too small for a plane, too steady for a bird. When he focused, he could see the familiar shape of a Proxima military drone. "Go to the house," he told Nova calmly. "Tell Vela. Protocol blackout." Nova ran toward the house while Jack kept working, pretending he hadn't seen anything. He counted in his head. When the drone made another pass, flying lower, Jack was ready. He pulled an EMP grenade from his tool bag. He had kept it from his service days just in case. When the drone flew directly overhead, Jack activated the grenade and threw it high. There was a flash of blue light, and the drone fell from the sky, all its systems dead. By evening, the ranch had changed. The Lyricans moved with urgent purpose. Vela and Lyra dug a hidden space under the barn floor. Celine and Mira set up devices around the property that would block signals. Jack opened a hidden safe in his cellar and took out weapons he hadn't touched in years. "They found us faster than we expected," Vela said as they looked at the broken drone in Jack's workshop. "This isn't government issue," Jack said, pointing to markings on the drone. "This is Proxima Assassin Guild." "Hunters," Lyra said grimly. "They won't just watch, they'll attack." Jack looked at the 11 women who had crashed into his life. In just a week, they had become important to him. Not family exactly, but something close. "How's the ship?" he asked Rhea. "Repairs are at 60%, she said. "We need another week before it can fly." Jack nodded, his mind made up. "You won't have a week. When this drone doesn't report back, they'll send people." He checked his old pistol. "So we need to convince any visitors that they've found the wrong ranch." Nova touched his arm. "Dangerous for you," she said seriously. "Not your fight." Jack surprised himself by laughing. "Kid, they made it my fight when they crashed into my tomato field." For the next 2 days they prepared. Jack taught the Lyricans about human weapons. They showed him their own technology. Together they set traps around the property and made plans for defense. Kaya was still too injured to help much, but she worked on healing the others. Lyra, despite her broken arm, insisted on helping with the ship repairs. Nova continued to bond with the horses who were now used to the aliens' glowing skin. "If we must leave quickly, can they come?" Nova asked, pointing to the horses. "Horses don't do well in spaceships," Jack said gently. Nova's skin darkened with sadness. "Then I will stay with them." "No one's staying," Jack said firmly. "If things go bad, everyone leaves. That's the plan." On the night before the attack, Jack couldn't sleep. He sat on the porch with his bourbon looking at the stars. Vela joined him, wrapped in a blanket against the cool night air. "We have brought danger to your home," she said. "We can still leave." "And go where?" Jack asked. "The ship isn't ready. The injured can't travel. We have survived worse." "Maybe, but you don't have to." Jack looked at his ranch, at the lights in the windows where just weeks ago there had been only darkness. "I've been alone a long time. Maybe too long." Vela's skin shifted to a lighter blue, which Jack had learned meant surprise or hope. You were a great diplomat once. Your name is in our history. I was younger then, believed I could make a difference. And now? Jack thought about it. About the crystal in his pocket with names of traitors. About Nova learning to ride horses. About Rhea and Piper fixing things around the ranch that he had let break down over the years. Now I have uninvited house guests who eat all my food and ask too many questions, he said, but he was smiling. Inside the house, they heard Mira trying to play Jack's old piano. The sounds were strange at first, then slowly became more musical as she learned. Our people believe that the universe puts us where we need to be, Vela said, even when it seems like chance. That sounds like an excuse for crashing ships into innocent people's fields. Vela laughed, a sound like wind chimes. Perhaps. Or perhaps you needed us as much as we needed you. Jack didn't answer, but as he looked at the stars, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Purpose, connection, like he was part of something bigger than just his daily routine. They'll come at dawn, he said finally. That's when I would attack. Then we will be ready, Vela promised. They sat in silence, watching the stars. The distant sound of Mira's piano floated through the night. For a moment, it was peaceful, but they both knew it wouldn't last. Morning would bring hunters, and Jack Holloway, who had wanted nothing more than to be left alone, now found himself ready to fight for 11 alien women who had become, against all odds, important to him. Dawn came with a pink sky and a chill in the air. Jack stood on the roof of his barn watching through the scope of his rifle. Everyone was in position. Vela coordinated through small earpieces they all wore. Remember, Jack said into his mic, we need one alive for questioning. Understood, came Vela's calm reply. They didn't have to wait long. Jack spotted movement at the edge of his property. 6 figures in dark armor that shifted and changed color with the surroundings. Proxima commandos. They moved with military precision, clearly expecting to find helpless refugees, not a defended position. 3 coming from the West Road, Jackie reported. 3 going behind the house, standard flanking move. All positions ready, Vela confirmed. The first part of their plan worked perfectly. When the commandos crossed the invisible line Piper had set up, their stealth technology failed. Suddenly, the 6 figures were clearly visible, their armor now a dull gray. What happened? One of them shouted. From the grain silo, Lyra and Dawn activated sonic weapons that targeted the commandos' neural implants. 2 fell immediately, their enhanced systems overloaded. The other 4 split up, running for cover. Jack tracked the leader, who had red markings on his armor. When the commando stopped to set up some kind of scanner, Jack fired. His shot hit the scanner perfectly, destroying it without hurting the commando. Need that one alive, he reminded himself. The battle got worse quickly. The remaining commandos realized they faced organized resistance. They fired energy weapons that burned through the morning air. One shot hit the east field, setting it on fire. Cassie and Rhea activated the ranch's water system, now modified to spray firefighting foam. The flames died down, but not before burning a large section of field. Through his scope, Jack saw 2 commandos break into the house. He heard Kaya's warning shout through the earpiece, followed by sounds of fighting. Jack left his position, sliding down the barn roof and running toward the house. Inside, he found Mira standing over an unconscious commando. She held a kitchen knife and had a cut on her glowing cheek. In the living room, Selene and Orion had cornered another commando, but he had Nova held in front of him with an energy weapon pointed at her head. "Stand down or the child dies," the commando said in a harsh mechanical voice. Nova's eyes met Jack's across the room. She wasn't afraid. She was calculating. Jack gave her a tiny nod. Suddenly, Nova's skin flashed with intense light. It was brighter than Jack had ever seen, like a camera flash. The commando was blinded for a moment. That was all Jack needed. He tackled the disoriented man while Orion pulled Nova to safety. Outside, Vela had captured the leader. By mid-morning, All 6 hunters were tied up in the barn. Their equipment was taken, and their ship, hidden 2 miles away, was now under Lyra and Piper's control. Jack looked at his ranch. Fields were burned, windows were broken, his favorite chair had bullet holes in it. But strangely, he felt more alive than he had in years. "You're home," Nova said sadly, looking at the smoke rising from the field. "We destroyed it." Jack put his arm around her slender shoulders. "Homes can be rebuilt. People are harder to replace." Later, they questioned the captured leader. At first, he refused to talk. But when Jack showed him the crystal with the names of Earth traitors, his attitude changed. "You don't know what you're involved in," the commando said. "This goes beyond a few executed officials. The new regime is planning something big." "What exactly?" Vela demanded. "A purge, not just of your House of Talus, of all moderates across 3 star systems. It starts next month." Jack and Vela exchanged looks. This was worse than they thought. "And the Earth officials?" Jack asked. "The ones working with you?" "Already positioning for the next phase. Your planet will be realigned." "Invaded, you mean?" Jack said. The commando smiled. "Not exactly. When half your leaders already work for us, it's not really an invasion, is it?" They learned that more hunter teams would come when this one didn't report back. The regime knew about the evidence crystal and wanted it destroyed, along with anyone who had seen its contents. "We need to move fast," Jack told Vela after they locked the prisoners in the cellar. "How soon can the ship fly?" 3 more days, Rhea said, minimum. "And even then, it won't be at full power." "We don't have 3 days," Jack said. "More hunters will be here by tomorrow." "Then we fight again," Lyra suggested. Jack shook his head. "We got lucky this time. Next team will be bigger, better prepared." "So what do we do?" Orion asked. Jack thought for a moment. "We need help. I know someone. Old friend from the diplomatic corps. If he's not on that list of traitors, he might be able to help us." "Can you trust him?" Vela asked. "I trusted him with my life more than once," Jack said. "But I need to contact him carefully. If the wrong people intercept the message." Nova, who had been listening quietly, suddenly spoke up. "Use their ship. Send message from it." Everyone turned to look at her. "The girl is right," Piper said. "Their communications would be secure using Proxima channels. No one would question it." "Can you make it work?" Jack asked. Piper nodded. "Give me an hour." While Piper worked on the captured ship's communications, the others treated injuries and repaired what they could of the ranch. Kaya, though still recovering herself, tended to Mira's cut cheek. Dawn and Cassie cleaned up the broken glass and bullet holes in the house. Jack found Nova in the stable, talking quietly to the horses. Despite the battle, the animals seemed calm around her now. "You were brave today," Jack told her. Nova looked up, her silver eyes serious. "Not brave, necessary." "That light trick. You didn't tell me your people could do that." "Last defense," Nova explained. "Young ones like me, our light is strongest. Hunters know this. Is why they took me, not others." Jack realized she had deliberately put herself in danger, knowing she had a way to help. "Next time, warn me about your special tricks beforehand, okay?" Nova nodded, then asked, "Will there be more fighting?" "I hope not," Jack said honestly. "But I need to know, can you all really leave in 3 days? The ship will fly?" "Fly, yes," Nova said. "Safely?" She made a wobbling motion with her hand. "Maybe, maybe not," Jack sighed. "That's what I was afraid of." "You could come with us," Nova suggested suddenly. "When we go." Jack blinked in surprise. "Me? Leave Earth?" "Why not? You are alone here." "I was alone here," Jack corrected her. "Now I've got uninvited house guests who eat all my food and break my windows." Nova's skin darkened, thinking he was angry. But then she saw his smile and brightened again. "You like us," she said confidently. "Don't push your luck, kid." When they returned to the house, Piper had good news. Message sent. Secure channel as the girl suggested. If your friend is still your friend, he'll get it. Jack nodded. Now we wait and prepare, just in case. That night, they ate dinner together at Jack's big table. Despite the danger, there was a sense of community Jack hadn't felt in years. Orion and Cassie had made a meal that combined earth and lyrican foods. Mira played soft music on the piano. If we survive this, Celine said, you must visit our world someday. Is that an invitation? Jack asked. It is a promise, Vela said, raising her glass in a toast. To new friends and old soldiers. Jack raised his glass too. To unexpected guests and unwanted excitement, they laughed together. For a moment, the danger seemed far away. But Jack knew better. Tomorrow would bring an answer from his old friend, or more hunters. Either way, life on his quiet ranch would never be the same again, and strangely, he was okay with that. Jack's message was answered the next day. His old friend, Commander Ellis of Earth's Special Diplomatic Forces, responded with a single word, coming. It wasn't much, but Jack knew what it meant. Help was on the way. Can we trust him, Vela? Asked when Jack showed her the message. Ellis wasn't on the list of traitors, Jack said, and we served together for 15 years. If I can't trust him, I can't trust anyone. When will he arrive? Tomorrow, if he pushes it. He'll bring a team. Good people if they're still the ones I know. They spent the day preparing. The ship repairs continued, with Rhea and Piper working, non-stop. The injured were improving, with even Kaya now able to move around more. Jack taught Lyra, Celine, and Mira how to use earth weapons, just in case. Nova continued to follow Jack, asking questions about Earth and his life before the ranch. Why no family? She asked as they fed the horses. Humans like families. I had one once, Jack said. Long time ago. Wife, daughter. They left when I was always away on missions. Where are they now? Don't know. My choice. Clean break. Nova's skin darkened with sadness. Alone is not good. It was easier, Jack said. Safer. Nova looked at him with those silver eyes that seemed to see too much. Safer is not always better. By evening, they had done all they could. The ship was almost ready. The evidence crystal was secured. The prisoners were still locked away, though Jack had made sure they were fed and treated properly. 2 options, Jack told the group at dinner. Either Ellis comes tomorrow with help or more hunters show up. Either way, we need to be ready to move. Move where? Dawn asked. If it's Ellis, to a secure facility where the evidence can be processed. If it's hunters, to your ship, ready or not. They agreed on signals and gathering points. Everyone packed a small bag with essentials. The most important equipment from the ship was brought to the house for quick loading. That night, Jack couldn't sleep again. He sat on his porch, watching the stars and thinking about Nova's question. Why had he chosen to be alone all these years? Was it really safer? Or just easier, not having to care about anyone but himself? He heard a soft sound and turned to see Vela joining him. She sat in the chair next to his. Your world has beautiful nights, she said, looking up at the stars. Your people can see more colors than we can, right? Jack asked. What does the sky look like to you? Vela smiled. Like music made visible, colors your language has no words for. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. If your friend comes tomorrow, Vela finally said, what will you do after we leave? Jack hadn't thought about it. Go back to my quiet life, I guess. Will it be enough now? Jack didn't answer. He wasn't sure it would be. Morning came with the sound of engines. Jack was up immediately, rifle in hand, watching as 3 black helicopters approached from the east. They had government markings, but Jack knew that meant nothing if the wrong people were inside. Everyone in position, he said into his mic. The helicopters landed in the east field away from the ship crash site. Men in black uniforms poured out, taking defensive positions. From the middle helicopter, a tall man emerged. He walked forward, alone, hands visible. Through his scope, Jack recognized Ellis, older, grayer, but still the same confident walk. Jack stepped out from his cover, rifle lowered but ready. Been a long time, Holloway, Ellis called. Long enough, Commander, Jack replied, Retirement suit you? About as well as it suited you from the looks of things. Ellis glanced around at the signs of recent battle. You never could stay out of trouble. Who's with you? Jack asked, nodding toward the men by the helicopters. My team. Clean. I vetted them personally after your message. And the list? You saw it? Ellis nodded grimly. I saw it. Half the names. I knew already. The others, that was a shock. Jack lowered his rifle completely. Good to see you, old friend. Likewise. Now how about introducing me to your house guests? One by one, the Lyricans emerged from their hiding spots. Vela came forward to stand beside Jack. The others gathered behind them. Ellis studied them with professional interest. House of Talus, the moderates, I thought you were all executed. Only the men, Vela said. So far. And you have proof of Earth officials working with the new regime? Jack handed over the crystal. Names, dates, communications, everything. Ellis pocketed it carefully. We need to move fast. Once word gets out that we have this, a lot of powerful people will want it destroyed. The ship is nearly ready, Rhea reported. Another day of work. You don't have a day, Ellis said. Our intelligence says 3 more hunter teams are already on the way. Bigger than the last one. They'll be here by nightfall. Jack made a quick decision. Load everything essential on the helicopters. We'll go to Ellis's secure facility, finish the ship repairs there. And the prisoners? Vela asked. Bring them, their evidence too. Everyone moved quickly, gathering the items they had packed. The injured were helped into the helicopters. Equipment from the ship was loaded. The prisoners were secured. Nova ran to check on the horses one last time. Jack found her in the stable, her forehead pressed against his old mare's neck. They'll be okay, Jack assured her. My neighbor will check on them until I get back. You are coming with us? Nova asked hopefully. To the secure facility, yes. After that, Jack shrugged. We'll see. As they walked back to the helicopters, Nova holding tightly to his hand, Jack looked at his ranch. It had been his refuge, his hiding place from the world. Now it was battered, with burned fields and broken windows. But somehow it had never felt more like home than in these past weeks. Ellis was waiting by the lead helicopter. Like old times, eh, Holloway? Back in the action. Not by choice, Jack grumbled, but they both knew it wasn't true. The women seem to trust you, Ellis noted, watching as Vela organized the loading. They crashed into my field. I helped them, that's all. Ellis gave him a knowing look. Right. That's why you're risking your life for them. They have important information, that's what matters. If you say so. Ellis checked his watch. Time to go. Hunters will be here soon. As they boarded the helicopters, Jack took one last look at his ranch. He had no idea when he would see it again, or if he would. They were airborne within minutes, flying low and fast. Jack sat between Nova and Vela, watching the landscape roll by below. Where are we going? Vela asked. Old military base in Colorado, Jack said. Underground facility, secure. And then? Jack didn't have an answer for her. For 10 years, his life had been simple, predictable, lonely. Now it was none of those things. One problem at a time, he finally said. The helicopters flew on, carrying them toward an uncertain future. But as Jack looked at the 11 women who had crashed into his life, he realized something surprising. He wasn't afraid of what was coming. For the first time in years, he was actually looking forward to it. 6 months passed since the day they left the ranch. So much had changed. The underground facility in Colorado had become their base of operations. The evidence from the crystal had exposed dozens of corrupt officials. Some were arrested. Others disappeared before they could be caught. Jack's quiet retirement was definitely over. He worked with Ellis and a small team of trusted agents, using his old diplomatic skills to build a coalition against the Proxima regime. The Lyrican women were key to their efforts, providing insight and connections to resistance groups on other worlds. Today, Jack stood in the facility's main hangar, watching as Rhea and Piper made final adjustments to the ship. It was fully repaired, now better than before with Earth technology integrated into its systems. She'll fly true, Rhea said proudly, patting the ship's hull. Faster than before, too. When do you leave? Jack asked, trying to keep his voice neutral. Tomorrow. Dawn time. Rhea gave him a knowing look. You could come with us, you know. Vela already offered you a place. Jack nodded but didn't answer. The choice had been weighing on him for weeks. In another part of the facility, Nova was teaching a group of Earth children about Lyrican culture. After the evidence was made public, other refugee groups had come forward. The facility now housed over 60 Lyricans, including several families with children. Nova had become a bridge between the cultures, her quick mind absorbing Earth customs while sharing her own. When she saw Jack watching, she waved excitedly. He waved back, smiling despite himself. She'll miss you, Kaya said, joining Jack. The doctor was fully recovered now, her burns healed without scars thanks to the advanced medical equipment in the facility. She'll be fine, Jack said. She has her people, as do you, Kaya pointed out. The question is which people you consider yours now. Before Jack could respond, an alarm sounded. Not an emergency alarm, but a notification that a ship was approaching. Everyone moved quickly to their stations, a routine they had practiced many times. Jack and Kaya went to the command center, where Ellis and Vela were already monitoring screens. Diplomatic vessel, Ellis reported. Lyrican design, but with alliance markings. The alliance was what they called their growing coalition, Earth forces and Lyrican moderates working together against the Proxima regime. In the months since, the evidence had been released. The alliance had gained strength, reclaiming several key positions in the Lyrican government. They're requesting permission to land, Vela said. Priority channel. Let them in, Jack ordered. The ship landed smoothly, in the main hangar. When its doors opened, a tall Lyrican male stepped out. He wore the formal robes of a high counselor, and his skin had the deep blue shade of House Talus. Vela gasped, her skin flashing with shock. Diran? The male looked at her, his silver eyes widening. Vela, you're alive? What followed was a joyful, chaotic reunion. Darren was Vela's brother-in-law, married to her husband's sister. He had been off-world during the Purge and had gone into hiding, believing all of House Talus on the homeworld had been killed. When we heard rumors of survivors working with Earth forces, I had to come see for myself, he explained as they gathered in the meeting room. I couldn't believe it might be you. We thought you were dead too, Lyra said, her voice emotional. Many of us escaped. We've been building resistance cells across 3 systems, Darren told them. And now, with the evidence you provided about Earth collaborators, the tide is turning. He explained that the extremist faction was losing support. Too many moderates had survived and their stories were spreading. The evidence of corruption had damaged the regime's credibility. We're planning to reclaim the council chambers next month, Darren said. Many houses have pledged support. With your group joining us, our position will be even stronger. The Lyrican women exchanged looks of hope and determination. This was what they had been working toward, a chance to return home and restore the moderate government. We leave tomorrow, Vela announced. Our ship is ready. Later, as the facility buzzed with preparations, Jack found himself on the observation deck, looking up at the stars through the reinforced glass ceiling. He heard soft footsteps and knew without looking that it was Nova. You are sad, she said, standing beside him. Not sad, Jack corrected. Just thinking. About tomorrow, about us leaving. Jack nodded. You'll be going home. That's good. Nova's skin darkened slightly. Not home anymore. Home is people, not place. When did you get so wise? Jack asked, with a small smile. Learned from grumpy old human, Nova replied, smiling back. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the stars. You could come, Nova said finally. Ship has room. I know. But you won't. Jack sighed. I have work here. The Alliance needs someone who understands both sides. Excuses, Nova said firmly. You are afraid. Jack looked at her in surprise. Afraid of what? Of belonging again. Of caring too much. Nova's silver eyes seemed to see right through him. Safer to be alone, yes? Jack remembered saying those very words to her months ago at the ranch. Now they came back to him, showing how much had changed, how much he had changed. Before he could respond, Vela joined them on the deck. Her skin was the brightest blue Jack had ever seen it, pure joy from finding her brother-in-law alive. Everything is ready for tomorrow, she said. The others are celebrating with Duran. You should join them, Jack said. I will. But first I wanted to speak with you. Vela looked at Nova. Alone, if possible. Nova nodded and left, but not before giving Jack a meaningful look. When they were alone, Vela turned to Jack. You've been avoiding me. Been busy, Jack said lamely. Too busy to discuss whether you're coming with us? Vela's direct gaze made it impossible to evade the question. Vela, Before you answer, she interrupted. I want to show you something. She took his hand and led him to a computer terminal. With a few quick commands, she brought up an image on the screen. It was Jack's ranch, but not as he had last seen it. The fields were repaired. The house was rebuilt, larger than before, with sections that looked distinctly Lyrican in design. What is this? Jack asked. Your ranch. Or what it could be. Vela changed the image, showing interior rooms with both human and Lyrican furnishings. The Alliance wants a permanent Earth base for diplomatic relations. I suggested your location. You want to turn my ranch into an embassy? Jack was stunned. ACA refuge, Vela corrected. For those caught between worlds, like us. She changed the image again, showing a larger view of the property. New buildings surrounded the main house, but they blended naturally into the landscape. We would need someone to run it, Vela continued. Someone who understands both cultures, who has experience in diplomacy but prefers the quiet of ranch life. Jack stared at the images, understanding what she was offering. Not just a role, but a purpose, a way to be part of both worlds. The horses? He asked finally. Vela laughed. There's a stable in the plans, Nova insisted. Jack shook his head, amazed at how thoroughly they had thought this through. Come with us tomorrow, Vela said. Help us finish what we started. Then, when the council is secure, we can begin work on the refuge. And you? Jack asked quietly. What will you do when the council is secure? Vela's skin shifted to a softer blue. I will help build bridges between our worlds, starting with one particular ranch in Montana. The next morning, everyone gathered in the hangar. The ship was loaded and ready. Duran would travel with them, bringing news of their survival to the other resistance groups. Ellis and his team came to see them off. So you're really going? Ellis said to Jack, eyeing the small bag in his hand. Just for a while, Jack said. Someone needs to represent Earth's interests. Right, Earth's interests. Ellis smiled knowingly. Nothing to do with 11 certain alien women? Diplomatic mission, Jack insisted. Of course. Ellis became serious. Be careful out there, we still don't know how deep the corruption goes. I survived 30 years in service, I think I can handle one more mission. They shook hands and Ellis stepped back as the Lyricans began boarding the ship. Nova ran to Jack's side, taking his hand and pulling him toward the ramp. Come, best seats are in front. Jack let himself be led onto the ship. Inside, the others were already at their stations. Lyra at the pilot controls, Rhea and Piper monitoring the engines, Dawn checking life support. It felt right somehow, like a team, like family. Vela stood at the command station. Everyone ready? There were nods all around. Jack took his seat, feeling both nervous and excited. It had been years since he'd left Earth, years since he'd been part of something bigger than his own quiet existence. As the ship's engines powered up, Nova leaned over to him. Not afraid anymore? Jack thought about it, about the ranch he was leaving, about the refuge it would become, about the 11 women who had crashed into his field and changed everything. Still afraid, he admitted. Just not of the same things. The ship rose smoothly into the air, leaving the underground facility behind. As they broke through the clouds and the blue sky darkened to black, Jack watched Earth grow smaller below them, but it wasn't goodbye. It was just the beginning of something new. You know, he said to Nova as the stars came into view, for someone who wanted to be left alone, I sure ended up with a lot of company. Nova's skin glowed with happiness. Best kind of accident.